Kumbaya, my lord. Kumbaya. Hi, I'm Grant. As we get closer and closer to the eventual release of Scott's brainchild, Help Wanted, I can't help but get more and more worries plaguing my brainium. Now, maybe that's just my hyperactive anxiety or my ruminating analytical mind. I do watch Rick and Morty after all. However, I think there's a legitimate untalked about issue right around the corner. It's a big deal, and if you're not sure I'm serious because of my last Baldy video, don't worry. We're back to reality. Oh, but there goes gravity. Oh, there goes spaghetti. Now that we've finally seen some of the VR footage, I'm feeling pretty good about how the game is coming out. The jump scares are looking hot, the gameplay is looking intuitive yet fun, but my main concern has transferred from how the game itself is going to play to whether or not most people will be able to play the game at all. When you think about it, FNAF VR might have a stumble we weren't expecting. A monetary wall it's just not able to crush. So let's jump into this animatronic-infested hive of butters and fans and get to the bottom of what I'm talking about. Dang! These are some good-ass graphics! I've never seen visuals this good on a mobile game. Guys, this video is sponsored by our friends over at Raid Shadow Legends. I've been loving this game, and you should check it out. Forget everything you think you know about mobile games, because this one is one of the most ambitious RPGs of 2019. Playing Raid is the most immersive experience you'll find in a mobile game, and it looks like it was made for PC or console. I got hooked on it, and the best part is, it's totally free. It's got an amazing storyline, awesome 3D graphics, great voice acting, addictive gameplay, badass boss fights, and hundreds of champions for you to find and customize. Look at how crazy the level of detail is on these champions. Raid is getting big real fast, so get in early and you can join the upcoming special launch event with crazy prizes. So go to the description of this video and download Raid only with my link and get free 50,000 silver immediately. 50,000 silver! And get a free epic champion courtesy of me and courtesy of the dev team. Now, let's get back to it. Help Wanted virtual reality. We're in a brand new paradigm of FNAF, people. This isn't your old school 2D flash game on Newgrounds. We're talking high production 3D voice acting goodness over here. But just like A Night with Your Mom, that stuff ain't cheap. Scott's putting a lot of money into a brand new FNAF game, more than he ever has for any other. Remember, Scott is a game designer. He made the FNAF franchise himself. The first game was just him. It cost him a comparatively small amount to create it. When you're getting in bed with development companies like Steelwool, things start to cost more. Especially when you're dealing with a fairly new medium like virtual reality. And I have a feeling that we're gonna have a few issues associated with that. Help Wanted is expected to be priced between $20 and $30. So let's just split it down the middle and say $25. If Help Wanted costs $25, that's 5 times more expensive than the original game and 3 times more expensive than all the others. Minus the free ones, you know. I don't know about you, but when I'm looking at games, price really matters. One of my favorite games right now is Dead by Daylight. I play it all the time. It's horror-oriented with asymmetrical PvP play. It's super unique and fun, and even though it's been out for years, it still has a thriving community because of how interesting and fun the game is. And also super gruesome. Yeah, it's weird to say this is fun, but you know, people dying on hooks is whatever. Getting abducted by demons is cool. If you haven't checked it out, I'd highly recommend it. But the reason I got DBD in the first place was because it was on sale for $10, and it's originally only like $20. But even that was too much for me to want to buy it. So when the sale came around, bam, $10. It was worth it. Video game purchases are an investment. I'm spending $60 on a AAA game with the hope that I'm going to enjoy that game enough to play it for enough time to make my purchase worthwhile. Sometimes you get really lucky and spend $10 on a game that gives you hundreds of hours of gameplay. Games like Borderlands 2, Dead by Daylight, Rocket League, The Witcher 3, Shovel Knight, Dark Souls, Monster Hunter World, and Sekiro are all games I've purchased and felt like I got my money's worth. But there's always that risk that the purchase won't pan out. One of our team members, Tyler, bought Red Dead Redemption 2. Guy hates the game. He hates it. So, some people have no taste, but I feel for the guy. For Tyler, that $60 purchase had no value. For me, I had the same story with Destiny 2. A lot of my friends picked it up, so I did too, but the game just never got a grip on me. I lost out on my investment. This is basically my fear for Help Wanted. We've never had a FNAF game this expensive before, not even close. The first game was $5 on Steam, and a bunch of the ones after it were $8, and then there were the completely free games like FNAF Pizza Simulator. We're coming to a new era of FNAF where the game is gonna have to have a lot more content to make the price worth it. Think about it. If you spent $25 on the original FNAF game, you would probably be pretty peeved off. But for $5, it's very worthwhile. A way better investment than a cold cut combo, which is like the only $5 footlong left. What happened to you, Subway? What happened to you? And why do you tax me to have my sandwich toasted? I know it's called a cold cut combo, but I like what I like, Jared. You greedy pedo! Now we know that Help Wanted is going to have over 40 different minigames. Around half being stuff we've already played, but in VR, and half of it being completely new content. My worries lie in the new content because that's what's most important to this game. The new games we play will make or break this installment, and so far we've seen that a bunch of the new minigames are very similar. You sit in one place and take apart an animatronic or fix them in some way. We've already seen that with Chica, Freddy, Bonnie, and Foxy. Now, maybe these are all similar because they're all the FNAF 1 animatronics, and there's a theme of us being a repairman for all the minigames that take place during FNAF 1. But it worries me to see so many similar games while the rest of them all seem like they're refurbishing the older games in VR. But even if we assume all the minigames are great, there's 60 plus hours of gameplay, and we'll have a great time playing it, there's still one other monetary issue. The price of the game isn't everything. I don't know about you, but I don't own a VR system. To play the next FNAF VR game, I'd have to spend $250 minimum on a PlayStation VR. It would cost more if I didn't have a PS4, or at the most between $400 to $500 for an Oculus or a Vive. So suddenly my price to play this one game has gone up into the hundreds, assuming I didn't have a VR before. VR is great, it's super fun to see at conventions, but it's currently not mainstream. VR systems aren't popular yet, even among gamers. That being said, I want one. They're really cool. I've never had a more immersive or realistic experience before. But alas, no VR for me until I can pay my taxes without freaking out. According to TechSpot, in 2018 of the 90 million active Steam users, 0.8% have VR headsets. Less than 1% of all Steam's active users have VR headsets. That gives us a pretty good indication of where VR gaming is in the sphere. The upper echelon of gamers who have the disposable income for a VR headset, but besides them, no one else has it. And that need for a VR device is definitely going to break the bank for a lot of us FNAF heads. The original games were easy to get a hold of. They were low priced, not graphically intensive, and available on PC. That's the lowest common denominator in terms of who can play the game. Practically anyone. It's the same strategy MMOs have. Ever wonder why MMO graphics are consistently some of the worst in the gaming sphere? It's because they want anyone and everyone to have access to their game regardless of hardware. Some MMOs like RuneScape can even be played on your phone. That's how low of a requirement they're looking at. So to have a franchise that historically has catered to everyone suddenly catering to the 1% has me a bit worried. Not worried really, more like a little shaken, surprised. I don't know how it financially, I'm not sure it makes any sense, at least from a game sales perspective. What we need to remember is that Help Wanted, while the next big installment in the FNAF franchise, is just one point in the larger business plan. Scott has been pushing FNAF into all areas. Games, movies, merchandise, literature, anything that can be FNAF will be FNAF. Then from that standpoint, it doesn't surprise me that Help Wanted got the green light. It does something far more important than mere game sales. It keeps the franchise relevant. Because even if none of you have a VR system, you're going to want to see what happens in the game. You'll go into Markiplier's videos to watch him play it. You'll check out our analysis videos to see what happens, what it's all about, what it all means. You'll talk about it, think about it. Overall, just keep the franchise alive until the next big thing comes along. I honestly and truly believe that's the goal behind Help Wanted. It will make some money for sure, but will it drive enough sales to be successful? That I'm not so sure. I can't say how much it'll cost to make, and I don't know how many FNAF fans have VR systems. I just know the answer is far, far less than those who have PCs or even piece of crap laptops. That $20 to $30 price point means that in order to have the same profit, 1 in 3 people who bought a previous title will have to buy the VR game. And I just don't see that happening. Of course, this is only to be just as successful as the other FNAF games, which is kind of a crazy high bar. Because with this franchise, success won't be defined by how many copies sold, but rather how it pushes the franchise forward as a whole. In the end, we're just gonna have to wait and see how it turns out. But as it is, I just don't see that many people getting the game versus the amount of people who just watch it online. As for me, we're currently working on the best way to get a VR system so that we can play it, record it, and get you guys some sweet videos on Help Wanted once it's released. Don't worry, we'll make it work one way or another. And you can help by playing Raid Shadow Legends. It's free and links in the description. Bam! Also, I have a question for you guys. It's a simple one. Are you planning on playing Help Wanted? Do you have a system to play it on? I'm really curious to see your responses in the comments just so I can get a feel for exactly how much of the FNAF fan base is gonna buy the game. If you aren't going to be playing the game, are you planning on watching it on YouTube? All this stuff is super interesting to me, so let me know. Thanks so much to Raid for sponsoring this video. I'm Grant. That's all I've got for today. I will see you next time.